What's up, everybody? How are you guys tonight? I hope everybody's doing good. I hope everybody's doing great. So, what's up, James? How are you tonight, bro? Okay. Hold down. I hope everybody has some fun stuff planned for this weekend. I'm just going to read off some cases. No, yeah. I'm just going to read off some cases. Just you and me tonight for right now, James. That's okay. I'm sure we'll get another one or two people in here. I'm doing all right tonight. I am doing all right tonight. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. The United States Attorney's Office for the Middle District of Pennsylvania announced that Sinew Johnson Jr., age 27, of York, Pennsylvania, was sentenced yesterday by U.S. District Judge Christopher C. Connor to 25 years imprisonment for sexually exploiting children. The court also ordered a 15-year term of supervised release to follow the term of imprisonment. According to United States Attorney Gerard M. Karam Johnson, previously admitted to sexually assaulting two 13-year-old girls, one in 2018 and 2019, and the other in 2020, and enticing those girls to take sexually explicit pictures of themselves. Johnson also admitted that he possessed hundreds of images or videos of child pornography, some of which depicted infants and very young children. The case was investigated by the Federal Bureau of Investigation's U.S. Assistant U.S. Attorney Carlo D. Marcioli and Assistant U.S. Attorney Carlo D. Marcioli prosecuted the case. Never seen this on here before. Let's most of these cases are all like overseen by not just the FBI, but by Project Safe Childhood. Project Safe Childhood is a nationwide initiative to combat the growing epidemic of child sexual exploitation and abuse, launched in May 2006 by the Department of Justice. Led by U.S. Attorney's offices and Criminal Division's Child Exploitation and Obscenity Section, Project Safe Childhood marshals federal, state, and local resources to better locate, apprehend, and prosecute individuals who exploit children via the internet, as well as identify and rescue victims. That's what Project Safe Childhood is, just so you know. No, we don't want to hear about no drug distribution scheme. Sorry, I just got to see who this is real quick. I wasn't expecting really anybody here tonight, so. Ooh, here's a good one. Well, a good sentence anyway. Man who sexually abused minor at Fort Bliss in 2014, sentenced to 35 years in federal prison. Thursday, June 22nd, 2023. El Paso, Texas. A Dallas man was sentenced in a federal courthouse in El Paso Tuesday to 35 years in prison for sexually abusing a prepubescent child. A penalty that will be served once he reaches the end of his current 20-year sentence on state charges. Nice. So he's actually going to do 55 years. According to court documents, Trevor Dylan Liu, 28, so he'll be in his 80s. Trevor Dylan Liu, 28, sexually abused a minor under the age of 12 while serving in the Army, piece of shit, at Fort Bliss between 2014 and 2015. The child victim disclosed the abuse in 2020 to a child adolescent forensic interviewer. Leahy was remanded into federal custody on January 6, 2022. He had been serving a 20-year sentence in Texas Department of Criminal Justice for a separate incident involving indecency with a child and sexual contact and the aggravated sexual assault of a child. On August 8, 2022, Leahy pleaded guilty in federal court to one count of aggravated sexual abuse of a child. The child victim in this case was extremely courageous to come forward about the horrible acts that this defendant committed years prior, said U.S. Attorney Jamie Esperanza of the Western District of Texas. That disclosure led to the successful investigation by our partners and the FBI, which has now resulted in the lengthy imprisonment of a dangerous child predator with repeat offenses. A child should feel and be safe in their homes and community, said Special Agent in Charge Jeffrey R. Downey of the FBI El Paso Field Office. I hope this sentencing brings some closure to the victims, knowing this predator will be in federal prison for a very long time. I want to thank the members of the FBI El Paso's Child Exploitation and Human Trafficking Task Force for their work on this case and their commitment to protecting our most vulnerable population, or children. To ensure justice is served for them, the FBI investigated the case. Assistant U.S. Attorneys Ian Hannon and Michelle Winters prosecuted the case. Another case that was brought forward as part of Project Safe Childhood. Let's see what this guy gets. A Paris man convicted of attempted child exploitation. Thursday, June 22nd, 2023. For immediate release from the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Central District of Illinois. Urbana, Illinois. A federal jury returned a guilty verdict Friday afternoon, June 16th, against Tracy L. Parker, 57, of the 1600 block of South Central Avenue in Paris, Illinois, for attempted sexual exploitation of a minor, attempted receipt of child pornography, and possession of child pornography. A sentencing hearing for Parker has been scheduled for October 13th, 2023 in Urbana, Illinois. Over 4 days of testimony, the government presented evidence proving that Parker attempted to obtain sexually graphic images and videos from an individual he believed to be a 13-year-old female, requesting these items for weeks through social media and text messaging. Parker was arrested after attempting to open what he believed to be the requested pornographic images and videos of the perpetrated 13-year-old child. At the time of his arrest, child sexual abuse material was found on Parker's cell phone. Parker remains in custody of the United States Marshals Services and faces statutory penalties of up to 30 years imprisonment if he is convicted of attempted sexual exploitation of a minor, up to 20 years of imprisonment for attempting to receive child pornography, and up to 10 years of imprisonment for possessing child pornography. The case investigation was conducted by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Springfield Field Office. Assistant U.S. State's Attorney Rachel Ritzer and Nathan Bartrand represented the government at trial. The case against Parker was brought as part of Project Safe Childhood, an initiative by the Department of Justice to combat the epidemic of sexual exploitation and abuse. Hell yeah. Davenport, Iowa man convicted of attempted enticement of a minor and travel with intent to engage in illicit sexual activity. Peoria, Illinois. On June 21st, 2023, Ashton McLean, 38, of Davenport, Iowa, was found guilty by a federal jury of one count of attempted enticement of a minor and one count of traveling with the intent to engage in illicit sexual activity. Over 2 days of trial before Chief U.S. District Judge Sarah Darrow, the United States presented evidence establishing that from November 10th, 2020 through November 14th, 2020, McLean communicated with an individual he believed to be a minor about engaging in sexual activity, sent pornographic pictures to the person he believed was a minor, asked for pictures, and then traveled from Iowa to Illinois with the intent to meet the child and engage in sexual activity. Federal law enforcement agents arrested him when he arrived at the meeting location. Sentencing for McLean has been scheduled for October 18th, 2023 at the U.S. Courthouse in Peoria, Illinois. At sentencing, McCain faces statutory penalties of 10 years to lifetime imprisonment, a possible fine of $250,000, and a a 5-year to life term of supervised release for attempted enticement, and up to 30 years imprisonment, a possible $250,000 fine, and a 5-year to life term of supervised release for traveling with the intent to engage in illicit sexual activity. He also must register as a sex offender. McClain has been in the custody of the U.S. Marshal Services since his arrest. The prosecution was the result of an investigation by the Federal Bureau of Investigation Springfield Field Office with the assistance of Rock Island Police Department, the Macomb Police Department, and the East Moline Police Department, and the Illinois State Police. Assistant U.S. attorneys Tanner Jacobs and Matthew Weir represented the United States at trial. The case against McClain was brought as part of Project Safe Childhood. Let's read about this puke. Ford County man convicted for a second time of enticement of a minor. This is a little bit further back. So Friday, May 26, 2023. Peoria, Illinois. Robert Shaw Anderson, 54, of the 300 block of Spruce Street in Paxton, Illinois, was found guilty for the second time yesterday, Friday, May 22nd, one count of enticement of a minor. The case was being tried for the second time after the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that the initial trial, Anderson should have been able to argue that law enforcement had entrapped him into trying to have sex with a person he thought was a 15-year-old girl. Over 2.5 days of trial, the government presented evidence to establish that Anderson arranged to meet an individual he believed to be a 15-year-old minor for sexual activity on the dating application Meet Me. The government also proved that law enforcement had not entrapped Anderson, into his attempted sexual liaison with a child. Anderson's conviction is evidence of the powerful result that can be achieved through state, local, and national law enforcement cooperation, and the United States Attorney Gregory Harris. The outcome and Operation reinforce our continued commitment to combat sexual predators who would prey upon children. The cooperation of the Attorney General's Office and the United States Attorney's Office is critical to holding accountable individuals who would hurt children, Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul said. This verdict underscores the commitment of state and federal law enforcement to protect the children of Illinois. The FBI knows all too well the risk children can face when communicating with strangers online, said FBI Springfield Field Office Special Agent in Charge David Nans. And while our protective measures demonstrate our commitment to stopping and holding accountable those who seek to sexually exploit children, we encourage parents to be equally proactive and remain aware of their child's online activity. Anderson was arrested over Valentine's weekend 2020 as part of the Federal Bureau of Investigation operation conducted by Kankakee County, Illinois. The operation, dubbed Cupid's Arrow, was conducted with the assistance of the Bradley Police Department, the Illinois Attorney General Office, Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, and the Kankakee County Sheriff's Office, and the Kankakee Area Metropolitan Enforcement Group. Special Assistant U.S. Attorney Shannon O'Brien, who is also Deputy Bureau Chief for the Illinois Attorney General's Office, the Assistant U.S. Attorney Douglas McMayer, represented the government at the trial before the U.S. District Judge Michael Mahan. Sentencing for Anderson has been scheduled for July 10th, 2023, before Judge Maham in the U.S. Courthouse of Urbana, Illinois. He faces statutory penalties of 10 years to a lifetime imprisonment, followed by 5 years to a lifetime of supervised release, and must register as a sex offender. He remains in the custody of the U.S. Marshal Service. Project Safe Childhood, a nationwide initiative by the Department of Justice to combat the epidemic of child sexual exploitation and abuse, led by U.S. Attorney's offices and the Criminal Divisions and the Criminal Division's Child Exploitation and Obscenity Section, or the CEOS. Project Safe Childhood, federal marshals, state and local resources to better locate, apprehend, and prosecute individuals who exploit children via the internet, as well as to identify and rescue victims. For more information about Project Safe Childhood, please visit www.projectsafechildhood.gov. So, there you go, guys. With that being said, like, subscribe, share, hit the like button, leave a comment. It all helps the algorithm. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night, man.